Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you are having a wonderful day. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one, about OP's husband, who wants to invite his mistress and their daughter to celebrate Christmas with the whole family. To be honest, I don't understand what OP was thinking. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a comment. So I, 29 female, am married to my husband, Alex, 32 male. We have 3 boys, triplets, 6. Alex and I have been married for 8 years and started dating when I was a freshman in high school. I found out that my husband cheated on me the night before our wedding, shortly after I had given birth. I was drained mentally, physically, and emotionally from the pregnancy, and I wasn't ready to fight, so I just let him stay. We went to therapy when our boys were almost 1 and stayed in couples therapy for 2 years, and we both still attend therapy alone. Now, on to the issue. As Christmas time approaches, my husband wants to get the whole family together, including his mistress and their daughter. I told him I didn't feel comfortable around his mistress and that I'd prefer it if we didn't have them with us for Christmas. Every time she's around, she just acts nasty towards me and my boys, and her daughter loves to hit and cuss, which my boys have complained about multiple times. I told my husband that if he insisted on having them around, then me and the boys would just stay at home and have a small Christmas get-together, and they could celebrate with my in-laws and his other family. Upon hearing this, my mother-in-law threw a bee fit and rallied all my husband's cousins and aunts and uncles against me, and father-in-law offered to come stay with us for Christmas since he wasn't really one for big gatherings anyway. My husband is now pissy that I'm giving him an ultimatum and making him choose between his mistress and daughter or his wife and sons. Am I the a-hole for forcing him to choose? I just wanted a quiet Christmas, and I really don't want to deal with a lot of people, especially after this whole year. Sorry this is all over the place. I'm exhausted right now. But I knew if I didn't post it now, I'd never post it, and I could really use some insider insight. This one is shocking, guys. If OP's husband still brings around the woman he cheated with, he obviously doesn't care too much. OP and children he had with OP should be his main priority. That woman shouldn't be in his life at all. OP needs a lot more than therapy. Also, I understand why OP's husband doesn't want OP to leave him. Because he absolutely knows that alimony plus child support for 3 kids will bleed him dry, and he will have so little left for the mistress and daughter. Background: my 27 male youngest sister, Anna, 22 female, demanded that I move out of the house when I was of age because she wanted my room to be hers, since she has been sharing her bedroom with her twin sister, Sarah. My father was reluctant at first, but after months of arguing with my mother, he caved in and I moved out. I was upset at first, but knew that my father did what he had to do for the sake of our family's peace. He, however, supported me through college, which included paying for my rent. I work as a freelance architect and got paid well thanks to the high demands for custom-designed floor plans. I got married to my college girlfriend, and we had 7 sons together: 5-year-old triplets, 4-year-old twins, 2-year-old, 10-month-old. She unfortunately got infected with COVID and passed away due to her own health complication in late January. I had been struggling to cope with the loss. In March, my father told me that they are struggling to get ends meet due to my sisters still living with them, and they are on the verge of getting evicted. I offered to take them in, on the condition that they follow my house rules and my sisters would find a way to find their own place to stay. Anna has a 6-year-old son and a 2-year-old girl, while Sarah has a 5-month-old baby. They agreed on the condition and moved in. Living with them has been a nightmare. They complain about everything and anything they could think of, and my mother would support them by nagging at me. If it's not because of my father, I would have kicked all of them out of my house. What infuriates me the most is that my mother and little sister would leave their children in the living room while I am working in my home office, expecting me to look after them, despite I have my own children to be concerned about. Sarah's baby is extremely fussy, and I would often have to hold her while working, since she would cry the moment I put her down. When I confronted them, my mother would justify that I should not be so patronizing, as my little sisters need some time off motherhood too, and handling children can take a toll on their body. Their logic is that I already have so much experience with children, and looking after 3 more would not be so troubling. I have been threatening to kick them out so many times, but they still continue leaving their children. It got to the point that I called the police on them last month and almost got the CPS involved, if it's not because of them returning home within 15 minutes to explain themselves to the police. My father thinks that I overstepped my boundaries by calling the police. Now, everyone in my family is accusing me of being an a-hole and expressed how disappointed they are that I would be so irresponsible to neglect my own sister's happiness. I'm honestly confused. Am I an a-hole, though? Note: Sarah is the only one married between the two, and brother-in-law works out of state. She could not move in with him, as he lives with a bunch of other dudes, and they could not afford their own place. It's hard for me to actually kick them out, as Sarah's child is only 5 months old, and with the current situation, I could not possibly risk her health just because of her mother's stupidity. Update: I must have looked stupid posting this concern, as the comments seem angry at me for letting this happen. But to be honest, my sisters were never neglectful to their children, and my parents did help with the children a lot. My father is not in the greatest health right now, which also makes it harder for me to kick them out. In my culture, family are everything, and I was raised with that mindset. My children already lost their mother, so I don't want them to lose their grandmother and aunt because I am too stingy to help them. Yes, I'm scared to lose my parent and my siblings because losing my wife already scared me enough. But I follow through with the advices and requested my family to either stop putting all the responsibility on me and step up. It's either they follow my rules or move out. My mother tried to argue that I should not be so disrespectful towards her, as she is my mother, but ultimately, all of them agreed to the terms. I even got them to sign a little agreement just in case. As for Sarah, I offered to help her and her husband find a place to stay so they don't have to live separately. It's the least I can do for them, and although some might argue that I could grow a spine and just kick them out at this point, that would be too cruel in my eyes. Thank you again. OP's family is taking advantage of him big time, and he is behaving like a doormat. So OP is working from home and is expected to also be a babysitter. OP's sisters are entitled, and OP's parents are supporting his sisters, not OP, the person that gave them a roof. Astonishing. But OP doesn't want to kick them out, which could be the only way to solve the situation. So I guess he will have to live like that, because people like that don't change. Okay, so long story. I am one of 4 kids, the second to last. My older brother, M, got married fairly young to his wife, J. They were pregnant pretty quickly after the wedding and had their first kid. In the years following, they have had, wait for it, 12 kids since. Yes, 12. The kids are currently aged 14, 13, 12, 12, 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, and then the current youngest are 3-year-old triplets. Anyway, M and J were over at our parents' place, where we all get together once a month without the kids. The older grandkids usually band together and watch the younger ones, watch movies, play games, etc. After eating, M announced that they are pregnant again with number 13. My older sister made a joke about hoping it wasn't quadruplets this time, as she's had a set of twins and the triplets. They laughed. I'd had a bit to drink at this point, and without thinking, said something like, "Geez, you guys are rabbits, aren't you? When do you even find time to do it?" Cue the awkward glances, a little chuckle from my younger brother. M and J looked awkward. Eventually, older sis said something about the comment, and I just kind of kept going with it. I doubled down and was basically like, well, I mean, how many is too many? How are you even taking care of them all? There's a magical thing called birth control now, you know? And looking at it now, that's none of my business, really. But her pregnancies have been increasingly more difficult with every baby, and they ask for help with the younger ones frequently, to the point where if M is working, J will usually have at least one of the other kids at her house helping out. She's even kept her oldest 4 home from school when she needed help with the triplets. So tell me, Am I an a-hole here? A lot of it is really none of my business, but like I said, how many is too many? Oh my God, guys, can you imagine? 13 children. That's crazy. Honestly, I'm impressed OP was able to hold out until lucky number 13 to say anything to them. Yes, it is not OP's business as long as they don't complain and is not asking for help constantly. But his brother and sister-in-law are proper a-holes because keeping kids out of school to help care for siblings is not okay. They are children, not co-parents. I, 32 male, have been with my wife Lisa, 29 female, for 7 years. She is 6 months pregnant with triplets, and these are our first kids. We're very excited, and I'm super proud of her for being so strong throughout everything. Here's the issue. When I was 19, my girlfriend and I were at her house in separate places. I was downstairs and she was upstairs. I remember calling for her and not thinking anything of it when she didn't answer. But when I later went to find her, she'd fallen and hit her head, and unfortunately, she passed away. I am still in therapy for it, but I honestly don't see the guilt ever going away. Lisa is amazing and very understanding about this, and she does little things to help, like telling me where she's going and keeping her phone charged so we can always reach each other. I don't get panic attacks or anything when I don't know where she is, and I don't ask her to do this, but knowing her location does put me at ease a lot. My younger sister Amy, 29 female, recently got divorced because her husband was too controlling. My wife and I have allowed her to stay at our house for a little while she can get back on her feet. But the agreement was that she moves out when the babies are born. She moved in when Lisa was 3 months along. Amy openly says she thinks I'm a creep for marrying someone the same age as her. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but Amy thinks it's a bit incestuous. Nobody else in our family thinks it's weird, but Amy insists that it is. We decided to look past this and let her stay for a while, though. Amy seems to have a major issue with Lisa and I knowing each other's location and keeps telling Lisa that I'm being too possessive over her and that she needs to set boundaries in our relationship. Amy told her that what we do is manipulative and constantly tells Lisa to leave me. Lisa and I have cameras in our home. It's quite a large house in an expensive part of town, and we were burgled last year, so we set cameras up around. I do not spy on my wife at all. The cameras aren't even on half the time, but sometimes if I call her and she doesn't reply, or if there's no noise coming from where she is, I'll turn on a camera and check if she's okay. I never do this normally, but I'm just very scared because she's pregnant too. Lisa is 100% aware of this. And she said it's not that bad, because I only use the cameras to check like once in a blue moon. But Amy insists it's weird and a breach of Lisa's privacy. I do appreciate her being there for my wife and showing that she does care. But it does genuinely hurt my feelings that she thinks I'm a monster. I wanted to kick her out ages ago, but Lisa objected due to Amy's divorce and the pandemic. Lisa has spoken to Amy several times and tells her that she's not in any danger, but Amy refuses to listen. Again, nobody else but Amy thinks this is weird, but maybe she is right and the rest of us are wrong. I'm going to speak with my therapist about this, but I just wanted an outside opinion on this. Am I an a-hole? I think OP is not an a-hole. OP's wife is aware of the cameras and agrees to their use. I think OP has a major problem with his sister. She talks poorly about OP and is trying to convince his wife to leave him. He needs to get her out as soon as possible. Reading that Amy, OP's sister, thinks it's incestuous because OP married a woman the same age as her did set off bells. So, my mother and father have been divorced for 4 years. They divorced because my father had multiple affairs behind my mother's back. His affairs and cheating involved 3 of my teachers. One being my cheerleading coach, whom I was very close to. My dad knew this and got involved with her anyways. When it came out, it somehow became public knowledge at my high school. It was a smaller private school, and word spread fast. My mom only found out because one of my dad's mistresses supposedly got jealous and told her. So I'm assuming my cheerleading coach told a teacher that she'd been sleeping with my dad, and that teacher spoke around and word got out to the other teachers. Word probably passed from teachers to other students as eventually everyone knew. I haven't had much contact with my dad. I pretty much completely cut him out of my life, as he wasn't a stellar father to me to begin with. He was much closer to my sister than me, and they still talk. My father wants me and my sister to spend Christmas with him this year. I do not want to, but my sister does. She told my dad this, and my dad called me to express his anger about me not going. He said it's incredibly messed up that I don't want to spend one day with him, even though he's my dad. I told him that he was a crap dad. He got mad and went off on me. I told him that a good dad wouldn't have B teachers that were close to me while married to my mom. I then said that my new stepdad has been a better father figure to me than he ever was. This led to my dad trying to equate what he did to something I did. Almost a year ago, I got drunk at a frat party and cheated on my girlfriend in some ways. I told within the week it happened, and my girlfriend decided she wanted to forgive me, and I'm still with her, and never will do that again. He compared this to having more than 5 different mistresses behind his wife of 22 years back. I thought it was complete nonsense and ended the conversation and hung up. My dad apparently told my sister and mom, and they both are upset with me. My sister because she's a daddy's girl who thinks I'm an a-hole for not giving my dad a chance, despite also being a cheater. And my mom for saying what I said, which she felt was needlessly cruel for me to say, even though it might be true. I feel like I'm in a ducking madhouse. Am I the a-hole? I don't think OP is an a-hole. First of all, he has a right to express his feelings, and that's exactly how he feels about his dad. OP's father blew up both OP's home and school life. He broke his vows with a series of sustained affairs over years with people closely connected to his family. And his attempt to equate years of choices with what I do believe was a mistake on OP's part, aged 18, that he took responsibility for, was just a desperate and stupid thing to do.